Now, the rest of the story.
Welcome back. Figure I might as well make this video now, otherwise I probably wouldn't make one. But I'm doing the last of my spraying for 2021. So I'm spraying like 4 different things. Probably not. Let's see. I'm spraying a weed killer for the broadleaves that are coming up, which they aren't much, but they're there. And I'm aiming for my 3rd cutting, at least off of the bottom ground here, to probably be my best yet as far as quality goes, maybe not quantity. I'm spraying the last of my bug spray out, which it's only enough for 3 fills, but at the same time I'm realizing going across here how many grasshoppers were definitely on the outside 2 rounds, because we got that fence line right there, which is eventually going to come out. But the thing that's working against it is you can probably take out a certain degree of it, but there's, I don't even know if I want to say it's a swamp. I mean, yeah, we still got the bird stuff here, but I don't know if it's almost a spring, because I did the outside 2 rounds around the bottom, and then I don't think you guys can really see my tire tracks, but I went around the hillsides, just around the outside there, and I stuck out my other boom into that standing grass as far as I could, because that is where all of the grasshoppers have retreated to. So trying to take out as much of them as I can so they don't decide to come out and start chewing on my new growth. This is, what, 2 weeks now? Yeah, this is 15 days after we cut the stuff. So the bottom is coming back really well. The field ground, it's been cut longer yet. Could look nicer, but the nitrogen, I'm going to go ahead and say, is definitely doing its thing. Rain, I think a lot of it's going to come down to when are we going to get rain again. The low spots down here even, where there's some exposed dirt, the dirt's actually cracked, but you don't have to dig very far, and there is moisture here. I mean, because the river's like right there. So that's why the bottom itself is getting sprayed first. It's getting 100% of my attention for the most part, and I got enough chemicals to spray everything, but I definitely wanted to make sure that this got done first. I have some pretty good, tram lines made through the field, so I know exactly where I need to be turning around at, turn the master back on, and then got my foot feet down there, and the tractor just kind of drives itself. Now I'm not streaming fertilizer on, I'm spraying for weeds, so it's different tips. You got more of a fan, which I doubt my cell phone's picking that up at all, because I can see everything that I can see straight from the actual tips. But these guys right there, they're hidden by the boom, they're on the back side of it, and I had gotten out twice already just to verify that they are spraying, because it's blue sky, it's sunny, it's haymaking weather. If I could have had this weather 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago when I was trying to make this down here, it would have been an absolute blast making this stuff, but we had the smoke in the sky and it was what it was. So I'm actually trying to keep the flow right around at least 7 gallons a minute, because I do have some of these fittings. I got some with check valves, I got some that are just tied right into the line, so they do dribble a little bit. I mean, the sprayer wasn't exactly a high-end sprayer. I put enough money into it, get it running and all that stuff again, but it's a starter sprayer. It got me to where I'm comfortable using one and spraying crops and all that else, but I guess grass is a safe crop to at least get used to spraying, right? So I have to run at least fast enough that all of my nozzles are running properly, and I'm going for 15 gallons to the acre, which gets me a little bit farther versus the 20 to 25 gallons to the acre. do have some yellow spots when you come across the field. The field's actually dark greener, and I think you can actually see that. The bottom down here is actually a little bit yellower yet. I think it's just a characteristic of this grass, because it does darken up and green up and look pretty wicked awesome. So I don't know when we're going to cut this. I mean, probably another month. This will be like the last stuff we cut. So it does have, I'd say, another 4 weeks from today yet to actually get some growth on it. And I'm not overly worried about it yet, especially seeing for how nice it's come back up to this point. And find my next pass, turn the master on, and let it go to work. But I'm actually, this is gonna be it for spraying. We gotta do a little bit with the Gator sprayer, but I'm ready to winterize this one and forget about really worrying or managing this stuff down here until it's ready to be cut again. So I don't know, I could ask everybody's opinion about what you think I should buy next, and that list is almost too long to list everything, because it's everything from a baler to a disc bind to a tractor to a sprayer to a grain bin to a machine shed to everything. So a lot of it is just kind of what opportunity presents itself when the time comes. I got really close to calling on a gravity wagon. Yeah, I know I never really mentioned one of those too overly much, but found one for just under $8,000, tarp, brakes, and I don't know if it had all the lights on it that I would have wanted on it, because we do tend to road at least a little bit at night. I mean, basically you want to be as visible as possible. A brand new one would be about $16,000 is actually what I just saw sell. That was a 600 bushel wagon. And this one was, about half price. But I see that it's no longer listed, which is probably good, because I'm being kind of unwilling to spend a whole lot of my money, and at least wait to see what this season, what this year brings. As far as the hay goes, third crop isn't made as far as I'm concerned, so we haven't hit quite 600 bales for the year, and it could very easily happen. I mean, I'm not going to rule it out where my final number for the year is 576, and that's it. But until this stuff is wrapped up and off the field, it's safe just not to count it just yet. I'm giving it pretty much everything it could possibly need at this point to produce a crop. Between taking out the weeds, which this is the first time I've actually sprayed for weeds down here. I know, terrible. My first 2 cuttings had some weeds in them, but my problem is even for first cut, coming down and spraying, the ground is typically softer. The 46 is usually tied up because it's on the planter, and it's enough of a hassle hooking and unhooking the planter, and not being 100% certain where you can all drive down here when the stuff is coming up in April, May, that, I mean, I'd just as soon probably not risk it. I had the 76 set up for a sprayer, which is what I would actually prefer to do, because the 76 gets used too much as it is, but it's also seasonal work where, believe it or not, when it comes to how much a machine is getting used, the 46 is getting used more than the 76. The 82 obviously used more. The 76 doesn't get used a whole lot during the spring. That's actually kind of its easy or low use season, I guess. So I guess if I needed something for a sprayer, it'd be the 76. Plus, I've stated time and time again, the front wheel assist, plus a tow behind sprayer with tandems on it to kind of help it float better, I think would allow me to get away with a lot more. Plus, probably some wider booms with the hydraulic fold and whatnot. But I figured you guys would appreciate just some green grass, some blue sky. I keep cutting off what I'm spraying for, but this is what I'm spraying. It's the herbicide for the broadleaves. It's the insecticide for the bugs, which I don't know if you guys can see the insecticide or the grasshoppers jumping like they are. And I am spraying Radiate. That's it. So the Radiate, the nitrogen are really what I'm hoping are gonna make something of another crop. I got all my hay back inside again. Well, let me rephrase that. I got my shed full again, and I have a bunch of hay that I shuffled around so I can trying to limit where I'm driving here. I got a bunch of hay shuffled around that is inside, but I'm probably going to go ahead and move everything that I can't get inside. Plus, I'm probably going to move a bunch of that last cut for the simple fact that I'm going to want to be able to get third cut off the bottom inside, as long as it looks like, and I'll know here in another 2 weeks if I'm going to have much of a third cut off this, and I can get it dry and treat it, you know, with the preservative, and get a healthy third cut, and I'll stick all that stuff inside, or as much of it as I can. Or if I have to pull out a bunch of my second cut, I'll probably pull a week or two worth of hauling out of storage, and just stack it full of third cut. And I do have some of this farm, like everything on the field ground, I'm just going to let sit outside, and that'll be the first stuff that I move. Largely because it does have some foxtail coming up on it, and nobody wants really foxtail. So the stuff is growing back really well. I mean, I'm hoping it isn't the case that I'm going to be thinking back for the next 10 years about how 2021 was, oh, that was just a great year for making hay down here. That was the last time that I made as much of the bottom as I did, or that I got three cuttings off of it, or yada, yada, yada. That could happen. I mean, the last few years were wet years, and I know that quite a bit of this bottom wasn't able to be harvested, and I've actually pushed back the field farther than it's been since the landowners were running it. And the reason the landowners could run it is because they were running smaller, lighter machines that actually floated better, and they didn't sink like bricks when you got any of this light stuff. Because I did the outside round over by that fence row, and I didn't have a full sprayer on the back. I was actually at less than 100 gallons like I am now, and I actually hit the diff lock. I actually managed to find where some water is standing that I didn't see, because over there on the bottom of the waterways where moisture is readily available, the grass is already, I mean, not quite up to the front axles on the tractor. So I think the third cutting is going to be pretty variable if we don't get more the dreaded R word, rain. But it's August, and typically, if you look back in the 30, 40, 50 years of averages, August is generally a drier month. It hasn't been the last few years, but we do have rain in the forecast. It's making the crops, it's making the beans. We do have a little bit of tip back on our corn, but the population is set to where we almost would rather see a little bit of tip back. So really not a whole lot of concerns there. Soybeans, a lot of 4-bean pods. I mean, don't really actually have to look that hard to find 4 beans in a pod. So I mean, I don't really get too excited talking about the crops too much, because you know, we had not a derecho but a windstorm come through that did take out a bunch of the corn at the home farm. Still not entirely sure what caused that, but we also did plant for yield. I think that might have burned us just a little bit, but we'll deal with it. Looking to kind of take it easy. I don't know if I want to say that either. As far as taking it easy for the next few weeks, probably isn't going to happen, because we get to the first week of September and I'm going to be looking at making a bunch of hay of Dad's hay and all that stuff again, and start working on that. Some fence posts have to be put in. We have some corner posts and stuff like that I want to do, and some maintenance on machines, get the combine out, and I don't know, I guess very aware that there might not be a whole lot of free time to do that stuff come September. So, well, I'm about winded. 15 minutes is a good video. This is it for spraying for the year. I've already said it once, but that's it. I got to do the lower bottom and the whole rest of the farm yet. And what's really slowing me down is I can't just go back to the tender and fill up because I have to put all my chemicals into the sprayer. The tender I brought down with me is really just water, and I'm mixing it in the tank to at least make sure I'm getting the proper amounts that I need. But it seems how the grass down here is already 6 inches plus tall. Another 4 weeks of growing, especially if we get some rain on it again. This could really impress me. So, thanks for watching the rest of the story. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys later. Well, the dangerous part's over, so I guess I can talk now. So, I didn't get done last night, so hopefully today is the last day of spraying. And you got to sit here overnight. This guy went flat on me. I guess, well, it's already got a patch in the tube, but they fixed it this morning, and they said that the patch that was in it looks like it either failed or whatever else. It really doesn't matter. So I gotta get the globe, because I pulled the globe off because, you know, I'm not a very trusting person, and took it off last night. As you can see, we're looking down into the waterways. Kind of scary looking. It really wasn't that bad because keeping the one tire, the upper tire, because I went that way around it, it's really not that bad as far as feeling all that steep. You lower the 3-point down so your center of gravity from the sprayer isn't quite so high, and you just drive on around. Mom actually came down with me. I went home and actually got my mommy to come down, and not so much help take it apart. She did. But down here is, well, there is no cell service down here. I mean, about my best chance of really even getting a text message out is if I go down along the river of the bottom, and this is dangerous. Doing it in the machine shed is kind of dangerous. I've done both these tires a couple times in the field like this. We used to have the 3-rib tires, which I absolutely hated. They look goofy as all get out, plus the fact that they did tear up the hay fields quite a bit. They're better in tillage, but I would prefer the 4-ribbed tires, and they're actually getting worn down a bit more than I'd like to see. But that's also what happens when you have a rotor. R-O-A-D-E-R. When I say rotor, a chore tractor, and the 46 is maybe an unwilling chore tractor because I need it for spraying and making hay throughout the summer. Otherwise it would be primarily in the same category as the 8235R. It would be used primarily for heavy tillage in the fall, and we are pulling a grain cart and planting. And I mean, granted, once spring comes around, it sits on the planter for a good month and a half, 2 months. So being down here where I don't have any signal, it's dangerous doing this. I mean, I actually used the handyman jack, not the high special, you know, just your hydraulic jack, because, well, Ryan had it because he had a job he had to do, and he took it just in case he had problems. And the problem is, when I did this the last time, granted it was on one of the 3-rib tires, it was that guy, it was one of the 3-ribbed tires before this, planting beans. I blew the tire, I use the hydraulic jack, which to get the hydraulic jack to reach up here, I mean, you gotta put a couple blocks on it, and we were using 6x6s and making sure it's as secure as possible, and then you're trying to get up here where it's level. Well, the SOB kicked out on me, and I had this pretty well up to where I could have gotten the new tire put back on, you know, this guy, and you know, things that don't make it online. No camera was on when we did that, but that was a couple years ago. But dangerous. I mean, we got a full set of weights in the front, plus we got the weights along the frame, plus a full tank of fuel. There's a lot of weight sitting right here, so if a hand or a foot or anything was underneath this right through here and that would have slammed down, it would have promptly broke it, or, you know, severed it, or however else, depending on how it landed on you. And that's why I went and at least had my mom come down with me, because if something exceptionally bad like that happened, at least somebody would be down here to at least either help or, you know, get help. So it's, I didn't show it online or show it mounting it, because I mean, this is the jack. It's actually got a pretty good indentation in the ground and kind of ready to be done spraying, to be honest. I'm starting the same time I did yesterday. What's slowing me down is I'm only putting 250 gallons in the sprayer. I got enough spray or enough water in the tank to finish everything I have left down here. I'm good on chemicals. I got about three more fills after I run out what is left on the sprayer, and I'll be done down here. I mean, this is easily the worst part of the farm down here. It's, you know, you can look at it, it's not the best stuff, but I'm still gonna make it, because either I can feed it to my cows or put it out for bedding, or I'll take it to the sale. And actually, when I sold this stuff last year, it actually still turned some profit. So as far as everything I'm spraying here, which I don't know if you're still watching, because I had people ask about Radiate. It's a PGR, plant growth regulator. The reason that I'm doing it is because it only costs, you know, money's money. You know, I say it so nonchalantly because I talk to town people that think $100 is a lot of money, and I'm not talking down on anybody that is like that. It's just that I'm so calloused and numb to my bills are usually thousands of dollars. So when you tell me that I'm going to pay $4 an acre, so what, $500 worth of Radiate down here, you know, give or take, it doesn't really make me flinch. But the reason that I put Radiate down is when I came down and sprayed for bugs down here, Andrew had a bunch of this. It was only enough for like a half a load, or, you know, half a tank, whatever. But it wasn't enough to do everything, but he gave me a little bit to try it, and I noticed it made a difference. What it does is that when you spray it on hay, I mean, I do believe we put it on our beans too, but when you put it on hay, people have said that it can actually add up to 6 to 8 extra additional inches of plant growth on grass and alfalfa. And there's a lot of dairy, there's a lot of beef guys in this part of the world, and Andrew said that all of his customers, which he covers a pretty wide area, that they tried this on their alfalfa and simply refused to not use it anymore, because they've seen the difference between the cuttings and the amount of tons that they're getting for a second and a third cutting. I don't think typically many people do this on their first cutting of hay. I mean, even for me, my first cutting down here was the dry fertilizer, and that's all that we did down here. Everything else that I've applied, you know, through the sprayer, it's been after first cut. So I've already gone through and done the pass of liquid 32 after first and second cut, and I've gone through and sprayed for bugs. I didn't do any herbicide that round because the bugs were so bad. I just wanted to get down here and just get the bug sprayed off. That round is when I did a bunch of the Radiate. And if you guys have been watching, The bottom itself actually yielded within like a dozen or so bales of first cut. So you got to feed your crop, and $4 an acre really doesn't slow me down. So I don't have any more insecticide. I mean, I think the bugs are under control. They're not as bad as I was worried they would be, I should say. But I'm looking to get this done because I keep getting things added to my list of things that need to get done around here, and I haven't been able to because I've been trying to make hay. And when you're trying to make hay to feed a bunch of cows, dairy cows, that were pretty much was like throwing cash down the toilet. Really hard to get excited about making hay, but when you're making hay like I are, and it's a cash crop, and you're actually seeing that you're able to make money off of producing that hay crop at the end of the year, it makes you a lot more excited, a lot more willing to do it, as opposed to just feeding it to a bunch of cows that you don't get your money back on doing it. So that's all I got. I gotta fire this thing up, gotta get the tank mixing up everything that's in there, get everything re-agitated, and get on with my day, because it's still probably going to be 5-6 o'clock before I'm done tonight. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. The subs and the likes surely do go a long ways. So until next time, take care.